In the remote Scottish Highlands, Jimmy is watching TV with his sisters and cousins when out of nowhere a piercing siren wails through the air. His aunt rushes to slam the door shut, ordering the children not to move a muscle. The kids freeze in terror as chaos erupts outside, voices and screams swirling around the house. Jimmy edges toward the door, calling for his father, when suddenly the door begins to rattle violently. Without warning, the room bursts open and zombie-like creatures known only as the infected storm inside. They leap at the girls, tearing into them in seconds, too frenzied to notice Jimmy hidden behind the door. Seizing his only chance, Jimmy bolts, only to stumble into another room where his mother is being devoured before his very eyes. Heart-pounding, he dashes through the house, horrified to see his relatives twisting and changing into infected right in front of him. Somehow, he manages to break free from the nightmare and escape the building. Outside, the horror only grows more. Infected swarm the streets. Jimmy sprints to the church, desperate to find his father. But inside, the priest doesn't see monsters, he sees salvation. With wide eyes, the man insists the infected are blessed, declaring, "This is Judgment Day." He presses his gold cross into Jimmy's hand, urging him to have faith. Then crash, infected smash through the windows. Jimmy flees again, but his father refuses to move, claiming he wants to be saved. In seconds, the creatures drag him down, their bites turning him into one of them. All of this devastation is the work of the deadly rage virus. Continental Europe pushes it back and seals it inside the UK, cutting the country off from the world. What's left is a wasteland where the only law is survival. 28 years later, life clings on in a fragile community on Lindisfarne Island, shielded from the mainland by a tidal causeway. Today is no ordinary day. Young Spike will learn to kill his first infected. His father, Jamie, is making breakfast when a loud thud sends him running to the bedroom. His wife, Issa, weak and pale, has fallen again. When she hears about Spike's training, she lashes out in fear, but moments later she sinks back, lost in confusion. Her memory slips so often that she barely understands half of what happens around her. Back in the kitchen, Spike meets Sam, who gifts him a gleaming, brand-new bow. As they head out of town, the villagers cheer Spike on, showering him with luck. At the gate, Jenny gives her chilling reminder, those who leave can return, but no one will come looking if they don't. Too many lives have been lost to rescues. With that warning heavy in their minds, father and son cross the causeway toward the mainland. Jamie tells stories from the old days, tales so strange Spike can't believe people once lived far from the sea. They reach a bridge leading to a thick forest, every step taken with sharp ears listening for danger. Then they spot it. A sluggish infected crawling on the ground, a bird perched on its back. When it stops to peck at worms, Spike draws his bow, looses an arrow and strikes it clean through the neck for a swift, silent kill. Another infected creeps up from behind, but Jamie is faster. He spins around, looses an arrow, and drops the creature instantly. The sound of the kill echoes through the trees, drawing more of the monsters toward them. Jamie takes down another with deadly precision, but when one more shambles into view, Spike whispers for him to let it go. Jamie can't hide his pride, though Spike's stomach churns at the thought of taking lives. They push deeper into the forest, spotting wild animals that seem almost untouched by the nightmare around them. But the peace shatters when they stumble upon an abandoned house. Hanging upside down inside is an infected, a filthy bag over its head and strange letters carved into its back. Jamie guesses it was once a human, captured and left as bait before the virus claimed it. He tells Spike to finish it, but the infected thrashes violently, making the boy freeze, then snap. It frees itself, forcing a startled Spike to loose an arrow straight into its head. Their journey continues until they find a half-eaten animal sprawled on the ground. Spike's eyes lift, and there it is. Its head and spine gruesomely jammed high into a tree. Jamie's face hardens. Only an alpha could do this. His voice drops to a tense whisper as he urges Spike to move quickly and stay silent. Breaking out into an open field, their worst fear becomes real, a horde of infected led by the towering alpha. They race back toward the forest as the monsters charge after them. Even in danger, Jamie keeps teaching, shouting for Spike to shoot on the run and aim for the heart or head. They retreat to the abandoned house, firing arrows at every infected on their tail. Inside, they scramble to the attic, slamming the hatch shut before they're spotted. Hours crawl by, the Alpha never leaving the area. Jami warns that Alphas are larger, smarter, and too tough to bring down without many arrows, and they have none left. Spike, still shaken, admits he missed shots and hesitated, but Jami reassures him, saying he did incredible for a fernt. Late in the night, a distant light appears. Jami explains it's the quarantine patrol. On the far side, a strange fire burns, but when Spike asks, Jami quickly changes the topic. Sleep takes Spike, but it drags him into a nightmare, his mother drowning, the world shaking apart. Suddenly, Jami is shaking him awake. The house is trembling for real. They rush out just before the roof caves in. Knowing the sound will draw the infected, they race for home. The causeway is covered by high tide, but the water shallow enough to cross. Then chaos. Birds erupt into the air, and the Alpha storms onto the causeway. Spike slips on the wet stone, but Jami yanks him up, and they sprint with everything they have until they reach land. Jami blasts his whistle, and the guards at the gate spring into action, lighting up the Alpha and peppering it with arrows until it stumbles. The beast rises again, furious, so the next arrow is lit on fire before being launched. The blazing shot finally brings the monster down, and Jami drags his son to safety at the gate. Jenny refuses to open the gate until she is absolutely certain they're both free of infection. That night, the safe zone throws a wild celebration for Spike's return and his very first kill. Jami tells the story in full detail, but Spike squirms under the cheers. Killing doesn't feel like something to celebrate. The crowd hoists him high on a chair, shoving the drink into his hands. The noise, the faces, the praise, it's too much. Spike bolts outside to breathe and freezes. Jami is slipping away into the shadows with another woman. Shock crushes Spike's chest. He stumbles home, where Sam sits beside a sleeping Isla. Spike shares parts of his adventure, then asks about the fire he saw in the distance. Sam's answer is quiet. He thinks it was Dr. Kelson, but warns that Jami avoids talking about him for a reason. He doesn't say more. Morning brings pain. Isla wakes clutching her head, begging for medicine. Spike has no idea where to find any. Jami finally walks in, but Spike's eyes can't meet his. He leaves, frustration boiling. Later, Spike corners Jami about why he hasn't sent Kelson to help. Jami's voice turns dark. Kelson lost his mind long ago. He recalls the horror from 15 years earlier, foragers discovering thousands of bodies arranged in a perfect circle around a massive fire. And Kelson himself, calmly carrying more corpses toward the flames, smiling and waving like it was nothing. They fled in terror. Spike pushes harder. Isla needs help, and he throws Jami's affair in his face. Jami's hand flashes before he can stop it, a sharp slap. Regret hits instantly, but when Jami steps forward, Spike whips out a knife and warns him to stay back. Jami knocks it from his hand, then strangely hands it back before leaving. That night, firelight roars from the barn, Spike's doing. While the guards rush to put it out, he sneaks Isla away toward the mainland. She calls for Jami, upset, but Spike soothes her with a promise a doctor will help. Their journey is dangerous. They hide in an abandoned building and nearly fall victim to an infected. But Isla secretly kills it herself. They press on, meet a soldier named Eric, and stumble upon a pregnant infected. Isla delivers the baby, but Eric kills the mother. The newborn is human. The danger spikes when an Alpha attacks, but Dr. Kelson appears, tranquilizer in hand, and leads them to his haunting bone temple. His tests reveal Isla has terminal cancer. At her request, he ends her suffering peacefully. Spike carries her skull to the top of Kelson's towering structure. The Alpha returns, but Spike sedates it and saves Kelson's life. Taking the baby, he names her Isla and leaves her at Lindisfarne's gate with a note, he doesn't want to be found. 28 days later, Spike roams the mainland alone, faster, sharper, deadlier than before. He meets an older Jimmy, still wearing his father's gold cross, leading his own team. Together, they cut down a swarm of infected. Jimmy grins in awe and says they should stick together.